How have you been?
That's a complicated question, but yeah, it's been a strange 18 months for sure. But yeah, I mean, things are looking pretty up, but at least in our corner of the world right now. But you never know. But yeah, I'm really happy and excited that we're finally getting to release this album, and that we've been able to stay busy despite the circumstances. Even though we can't be out there playing shows, we're still, productive and creative and working on stuff.
Yeah, did you manage to get out on the road with the last album at all?
Yeah, we started a European tour last March, but we had to cut it short, like after a little more than a week because of the pandemic. It struck really hard all of a sudden, and the borders started to close down. So we had to cut the tour short and take a flight home, because otherwise we'd been stuck somewhere for months. So yeah, it was really sad because the shows that we did get to do, we managed to play some shows in London, England, and some shows in Spain and Germany and a few other places, and it was really good. It felt really, it was some of the best shows we've done so far, and we had great crowds and great reactions, and it felt so good. And then yeah. Then we all know what happened. So, but at least we ended on a high note. It would have been worse if we had a miserable tour and no one came, and and then we had to go home. So at least we know that once we're able to get out again, we'll probably, hopefully it will be even better.
Discussing forming this band in the back of the tour bus all those years ago, did you think you'd be 6 albums in?
No. The one thing I've learned after spending so much time, playing music, it's often that the less thought you put into it, the better it gets. When me and Björn started discussing this, like back in 2006, it was just a crazy idea, something that we felt like, we need to do this before we die, otherwise we'll regret it, because it just felt really as a really fun thing to do. And once we found the right people to do it with, and we started playing together, and it just felt right from the beginning. We just had this chemistry, and we had so much fun, and it has never been calculated, or it's all been a very spontaneous and organic process. And I think that's why we have this longevity. Whereas if we'd started thinking too much about what we do, it probably wouldn't have been going this well. So yeah. But of course I'm still surprised. But we didn't start it for any commercial reasons. We started the band because it was something that we really wanted to do, and even if we didn't have any commercial success, I think we'll still be doing it somewhere. At least we get together every once in a while in some sort of funky rehearsal space, and just to hang out and play some classic rock.
Let's talk about the latest album then. What can you tell us about it? How did you manage to get together? Was it all done basically online, swapping things online? Did you manage to get together as a band?
Yeah, we're all living in Sweden, and we haven't had any really strict lockdown rules, and we all managed. We all got COVID after the last tour we did, so we all had antibodies, so it felt quite safe to get together, and a lot of our creative process happens in the studio, and we're not the kind of band who could do an entire album just sending files back and forth online. Because it's very crucial to have everyone there having their input, and even if it's me and Björn and partly Sebastian who write the songs, it's the others have their own strong personalities and their own they bring a lot to the creative process, and so yeah, it's been business as usual basically when it comes to recording and that whole thing, and And, we're always recording and producing everything ourselves. So it's very much a group effort. And because of everyone's busy schedules, we don't spend months and months in the studio. We get together for like a week or two, and, then we take a break and get together for another short session. So we always have things going on. And then it's just a matter of, picking the songs that seem to go well together and sort of to fit into some sort of theme. So it's, to me, the 6 albums that we've done so far, it's all, a continuous process, and you can see how we develop and mutate over the years.
Yeah, you've called this one Aeromantic II, which means the one before is Aeromantic I. How have they linked together?
It just felt very natural. It wasn't something that we planned, but it's more like, the albums before Aeromantic I, Amber Galactica, and Sometimes the World Ain't Enough, they had more of a space theme in a way. Whereas this album and Aeromantic I, it's more of a down-to-earth, aeroplane, atmosphere, stratosphere thing, as opposed to escaping to space, where, circling the Earth instead. But it's not like a concept album that way, but it felt like, it felt like these 2 albums belong together in a way, just like the previous 2 albums did. And I guess for the next album we'll head in a slightly different direction, but it felt quite natural to have this as some sort of like a sequel to Aeromantic, and just like our whole process it's all very spontaneous, and we don't overthink things. It just like, let's call it Aeromantic II because it seems logical, and I think it could have been a double album, but no one does double albums these days. So, but it's I think they go together. I don't know what you think, but they sort of have the similar feel to them.
Yeah, a common vibe. I can think of one band that you might be familiar with that did a double album.
Yeah, of course. But that was another era in a way. That's it sounds really boring, but Nuclear Blast, our record label, they're lovely. We have a great relationship with them, and the physical sales of stuff, it's still declining, and when Soilwork released The Living Infinite almost 10 years ago, it was still worth it, and we really want to do it on an artistic and creative level, and it was a novelty factor and something that we gained a lot from. But these days, the physical sales are quite small, and it's just the way it is, and you can't really do much about it. And I'm fine with people streaming our music as well, and as long as we are able to keep doing it on this level, and I'm happy. I would love it if people were buying more physical products, and which would give us more, we could make even more extravagant stuff like videos and stage productions and stuff, but it is the way it is, and we're doing fine, and as long as people like it, I'm happy. It's coming from a small town in Sweden, growing up, and just being able to play in 2 bands on this level and having so many people listening to what you do, I'm still amazed that I've come this far. So
Tell us about the new keyboard player. Tell us about him, what he's brought to the band.
Oh, John, he's I've known him for a long time. And he's from the same town, the same area as me and Sebastian and Jonas, the drummer, and he's a really nice guy. He's a classically trained pianist, and is also a great jazz musician, and he's really, he can play pretty much everything. He has a great ear for music, and he, it just felt very natural. And like I said, we've known him for a long time, and he was, basically, we didn't really have to look around much. It's like, oh, if John's available, and he was, fortunately. And he's a great guy. He's a fantastic musician. he even looks good. That bastard. Yeah, so it's been a very natural thing, him joining the band. I think he does a great job, and for me, I mean, I'm more of an improvisational musician as well, and you know, just like him. So it's for me, it's been really fun to, you know, we have lots of fun in the studio, just goofing around and, you know, quietly sneaking in some weird jazzy chords here and there, and you know. But he also loves all the stuff that I mean, he loves all the great AOR classic rock stuff as well, and you know, he's just a great all-round musician.
Any songs on the album that have got any story related to them that you care to relate? There's got to be a story behind White Jeans. There just has to be. Oh
yeah, it's mostly Björn's song. We wrote the lyrics together, but it was his idea, and then his yeah, we've it's been like an internal joke for some reason for quite some time. I don't know why, but we just found the concept of white jeans was quite funny, you know, just internal band humor, and then we finally managed to get Charlie D'Angelo, the bass player. You know, he's always dressed in black, and we finally and one day he just showed up for a show with white jeans, and it was just, oh, if Charlie can buy white jeans, I mean. And then Björn came up with the song idea, and you know, I mean, it's not that funny to anyone on the outside, I guess, but yeah, we've been talking a lot about white jeans for like 5-6 years, and then Björn came up with the concept for the video with this guy that he's like a TV personality in Sweden, and Björn knows him personally, and it's just lovely having a bearded man cross-dressing and shaking his ass in the white jeans, and you know, it's just, I love it how it's turned out. Where to from here? The album comes out this Friday. What have you been able to plan? Have you been able to plan anything? No, we do have plans, obviously, but you know, we were booked for festivals already for the summer of 2020 and this summer too, and we've had tours that were booked, you know, that has been like postponed 4 times, and you know, so yeah, we have loads of plans, but still no idea whether, I mean, when or if it will happen, and I mean, in the meantime, I guess we'll just continue to, you know, create music, and I mean, we're still doing it because we love creating music together, and who knows? I mean, in a perfect world, we would be out there touring this album next week, but hopefully we'll be able to play some shows. But I mean, I don't dare to expect anything, or you know, but would be lovely at least next summer to do some festivals or something. Now, you spoke about busy lifestyles before. Are you still working as a gastroenterologist? Yeah. How have you managed to get time in your schedule to do this? And soil work as well, by the way. Yeah. Well, I have a deal with the hospital that, you know, I take a leave of absence whenever I need to do music. And, you know, so I don't get paid from the hospital when I'm doing this. And they're fine with it. I mean, there's a shortage of specialist doctors like it is everywhere. And, you know, so they allow me to take time off whenever I need it. And that was part of the deal when I started working there, which was almost 10 years ago. So it's working out fine. I mean, of course, it's tough sometimes, but especially when you have a tendency to say yes to too many things at once. But I'm getting better at it, and you know, trying to balance the whole thing, and yeah, but it's difficult sometimes, but to me, music is still my number one priority. It was what I, you know, grew up wanting to do, and always dreamt of doing, and the doctor thing was more an afterthought, because I sort of gave up on music in my early 20s. I did a few records and, did some session work and worked as a guitar teacher, and it didn't go anywhere. And I sort of got a bit fed up and a bit bitter and grumpy. And it's like, I was always good at school, so better go to university and get a real job then. So I went to medical school and worked as a doctor, and then this whole thing, the chance with Soilwork came up, and I did my first tour with them back in 2006. We did a US tour when I was just a session musician, and that was when I got to know Björn, and we started planning for the Night Flight Orchestra, and then I played with Soilwork and off, and eventually joined them as a full-time member, and it's been a long journey to get here, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to do what I love, and I'm happy as long as it lasts.
We're just about out of time, David. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on with the album release coming out?
Yeah, I just hope that people will appreciate it, and would love to come down under someday. We've been there with Soilwork lots of times, and it's always, I always like going there, and with every Night Flight Orchestra album, we did get more and more interest from the media, and we do almost as many Australia/New Zealand interviews as we do European interviews. Not really, but almost. It seemed to be, I have no idea really, but there seemed to be a growing interest in our music down there. So it would be fantastic to be able to go there and do a tour with Night Flight Orchestra one day, depending on the pandemic situation. But yeah, so I just hope that more and more people down under will discover us and spread the word, and so that one day we'll be able to get there in person. I think it would be a success.
I think so. I will do what I can.
Let's make Night Flight Orchestra the new ABBA.
Why not? David, thanks so much for taking the time and chatting to me today.
Oh, no worries.
Really good luck with the new album, Aeromantic II. Excellent stuff, and good luck with that. And yeah, hopefully we see you down here one day soon.
Absolutely. Nice talking to you. Take care.